There's a famous Bruce Lee quote that says, "I fear not the man who practiced 10,000 kicks one time, but I fear the man who practiced one kick 10,000 times." And I think this is really, really accurate about language learning. Also about kicking as well. I know a couple of things about kicking. I have been a lifelong kickboxer. But when it comes to language learning, this is a really good quote because it's true. If you obviously you don't need a kick 10,000 times, or even one word or one sentence 10,000 times, you need more. But if you take 1,000, 5,000, maybe even 10,000 sentences, and you practice them 100 times each, you're going to be much, 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 much better at speaking than if you just do input. I'm gonna do my 5,000 hours of dreaming Spanish, and eventually I'll speak the language just by watching videos. That's extremely, uh, yeah, it's extremely lazy and mediocre to do that, and results are going to come late, very slowly, and in a very mediocre manner. But if instead you practice your keywords and sentences over and over, you'll get very good at speaking very fast. That's the difference. Yeah. So the same sentences over and over and over again. You read them, listen to them, memorize the vocabulary, you repeat them aloud over and over again, and you'll be able to say a lot more. And also your comprehension will improve. Yeah. So the same 10,000 sentences or 5,000 sentences 100 times each, it's much more effective than just let's just watch some more videos. And how to do this? Obviously, I I'm not just going to tell you to learn the same sentences really well. I'm also going to tell you how to do it. And the way to do this is, well, first of all, you've got two types of content. One is frequent vocabulary, verbs, adjectives, and nouns. You should learn all the frequent words, not only the first 100 or so, but at least a few thousand. Ideally, over 5,000 or and 10,000 would be better. But yeah, you take the most common words, especially verbs and nouns and adjectives, and you learn them. And then you also do the same thing with your own language islands, your own sentences. This is going to skyrocket your speaking skills. How do we learn them? Well, go to the beginning. Well, you start whatever you want to start, and you start reading, and all the words that are not easily to recognize, you associate it. You create an association. Yeah, you get a visual association of the meaning of the word with the word. This one, polite is cortés in Spanish. For example, you could visualize Hernan Cortés, the conquistador, being really polite to the Aztecs. He wasn't very polite in real life, but yeah, you can visualize that. Um, these ones you don't need to associate because they're basically the same. These ones as well, all cognates, thoughtful, pensativo. But you probably know pensar already from the verbs, so you don't have to associate either. Tolerante, digno, like dignified. Yeah, you could. Digno de confianza, sorry. Uh, Literally deserving confidence. Um, yeah, you could create a mental image for this, and then for confidence, and then something for trustworthy. Wise, sabio, uh, something like sabe, uh, bio as well. S and then bio. You could create and something for wise, some like old wise man giving lectures or something. Yeah, and you create those associations, and then obviously you review it, you read it over and over, you create a an audio file and you listen to it over and over while you also keep memorizing vocabulary. And finally, you read them aloud over and over again, and then you hide them. You don't really need to hide them, but you read the English part and you try to say it in Spanish, and you check if you say it correctly or not. This is retrieval practice, and it's extremely effective to memorize information. Not only memorize, but to be able to then use it when you need that vocab. It's not only about understanding it, it's also about being able to think of it fast enough that you can use it in conversation. Yeah, this method will increase your active vocabulary instead of just watching a bunch of videos where you'll have to watch many thousands of hours of videos to just to activate that vocab, because you're not really thinking, you're not forcing yourself to think in the language. Doing this, you are, yeah. Bright, she has a bright future ahead of her. How do I say that in Spanish? Brillante. Ella tiene un brillante futuro por delante. Yeah, and you do that with all of them. You could also come here, click download CSV file, and import to Anki and review them there as well. But the best, most common verbs, nouns, and adjectives, you learn them like this, yeah, over and over and over again, lots of reps of this after visualizing them. And you'll be able to speak much better than just watching random videos of nonsense. I've got several lists. One of them is the basic one is 300 words. With this, you learn more words because they've got an actual sentence next to it, so there are more words there. But 100 nouns, 100 verbs, and 100 adjectives. And if you learn those really well, you're already able to speak a little bit, especially if you also created your language islands, which you should use the exact same technique with, but with your own phrases. And once you have some language islands and have learned the basic verbs and all that, you go to the advanced list and you do the same thing. And by the end of it, you should know 10,000 words, 10,000 sentences. Then you can combine to create more sentences and you can speak fluently. Do this instead of watching some nonsense.